EWTN Newsroom correspondent Colin Flynn joins us now. Colin, great to see you. I know that you just came back from South Sudan, where you were recording reports for EWTN News. Tell us more about that, why you were there for the network, and also what that experience was like filming there.
Well, the experience, Tracy, to be honest, it was very challenging, to say the least. A large part of the country is swampland from the River Nile, which flows right through it, the longest river in the world, of course. And it's an extremely poor country. There is no electricity, there's no national power grid, no water system, no sewage system. This presented many issues, as you can imagine. And even things like going through the airport at many points in order for us to pass safely and securely to the next area in the airport with all of our expensive camera equipment. Many of the airport personnel needed to be paid off to let us pass without trouble. We come up against this quite a lot when we were there. This is what life is like in South Sudan. But, Tracy, the people that we met when we were out in the field recording our reports, they could not have been warmer, kinder and open to us being there to share their stories.
And Colin, I know that you also traveled to a more rural area called Rumbek. What did you find there?
That's right. We left the capital, Juba, and we flew right into the centre of the country, a place called Rumbek, as you mentioned. This is where much of the fighting actually took place during the war, and so as a result, even though there is a peace agreement that was signed a number of years ago, it is still quite an unsafe area, especially for a foreigner to be there. So because of this, we were accompanied at all times by 3 armed police officers. They never left our side. And while we were there, we filmed how the Catholic Church, along with an organisation called Sudan Relief Fund, which is run by a Catholic named Neil Corkery, they're really doing what has to be called only incredible work there with those people who are most in need. For example, we filmed extensively at a colony for people with leprosy just outside the town of Rumbek. They're not allowed to stay in the towns or villages. They've been banished to live in a colony on their own just outside. There's around 4,500 people with leprosy living there. And we filmed there with a lady called Nolene Loughran, who's from Ireland. She's been working for years with the people, bringing them food, life-changing medication, and building them homes as well to give them protection from, let's say, the wild animals like the hyenas. All this work has been funded by the Sudan Relief Fund. And Tracy, that was extremely powerful being there. And of course, as you can imagine, it was quite emotional as well, because you see these beautiful people who have absolutely nothing. And as you'll see in my reports, many missing fingers, missing toes, their entire feet due to leprosy, but still being able to smile and be joyful in the midst of everything. That really was extraordinary, and I hope we get to show you that. I hope it comes across on television. But the reality, Tracy, is that still today the need there is so great. It's hard to put into words. And now the country of South Sudan is even facing a famine. Many people will probably starve in the next number of years. This is due to the global increase of food prices as a result of the war in Ukraine. And on top of that, South Sudan has experienced in the last 2 years flooding and then drought. So that has decimated their own crops. So this will all be covered in our reports when they're broadcast in the coming months. We'll have all that and more coming up in our reports on In Depth. And overall, it was an extraordinary trip and a very powerful one as well. Tracy?
It sounds like it was, and we are so looking forward to your reports. Colin, thank you so much. We appreciate it.